Okay, so what's up guys? I know it's been a while since I've done any form of vlogging. It is such a time consuming process, just filming, thinking about it and then editing it after. However, with my new project, I want to try and document the whole build because it's something I feel very strongly about and I think it's gonna have a good message if I can pull it off. So without any further ado, I'm gonna introduce you into my new project. So it all basically started on a group chat. Myself, Z and Jake, we were having the old SR versus RB argument and I kind of got a bit heated and I decided that I was going to prove these guys wrong and I was going to try and hunt down my old SR20, which came from my C-Lady, and put it into another car and then start drifting it long before either of those two ever see the track again. So I scrolled through my Facebook Messenger, ended up finding Christian's messages that we were talking about. It was nearly 2 years ago I sold him the motor, and lo and behold, he still had it and he hadn't done a single thing with it. So I purchased it back for the same price he paid for it. It even still has the same tape on it. And yeah, that's sort of how this all came about. And then I wasn't going to put the motor into the C-Lady, I wasn't going to put it into my S14 because both of them are already sort of spoken for. And one thing led to another, and now I've picked up my new S13 shell. First got that motor, it was pretty tired, and to be perfectly honest, I was quite surprised that it lasted as long as it did. So I'm not hoping for a huge result from it. A couple of track days would be absolutely mint, but you never know with these old ones, it might just go forever. So it has pond cams and a aftermarket sump. Other than that, it is a completely factory motor. I have done a little bit of shopping, so that plenum actually came from my built motor. I had this starter motor lying around, coil packs were lying around, power steering pump and the clutch and the alternator I didn't have, so I picked up those two and the clutch for $50. I ended up picking up the flywheel and this clutch just here for another $20. So all up, we are looking at a total of $670, and that's almost everything that's needed. We just need a turbo and a manifold. So ideally, I want to try and keep everything as cheap as possible moving forward, but we will just have to see what is available locally and go from there. Worst comes to worst, we'll be looking at a Speedtech manifold and probably a TD05. So I've actually got a bit of free time this afternoon, so I thought before I start actually working on this car, I will give you guys a quick rundown so you can see just how bad it is before we get quite stuck into it. So this is kind of cool. This is a factory metal bonnet with a aftermarket fiberglass scoop. That could be done a hell of a lot better. Some bonnet pins that are non-existent. We have a SR20DE non-turbo automatic in very, very factory condition. So factory air boxes, all its factory plumbing's there. That's pretty cool. You don't see that a lot. It looks like it's seen better days, but once it warms up, it still runs nice and healthy. So we'll do a comp test on it before we pull it out, and we'll probably end up selling that, try and recoup some costs. It's got a aftermarket strut brace, and yeah, that is about it. The fan shroud and the clutch fan and the radiator all look to be in really good condition, so in the essence of keeping things nice and factory, we'll be keeping those for the turbo motor to go in. With the rest of this, or the majority of this I should say, will be being pulled out to make way for the conversion. There is no front end on it currently. Came with a front bumper and some headlights, but they're in very good condition, so in the essence of keeping quality parts still quality, I'm not going to be using this on a drift car. The front end of the Salady will eventually make its way onto the front end of this car, and that is then going back to a 180. So 2 mismatched doors. We got some door cards in half decent condition, but that is just hiding some quite bad rust. Not a big issue. We'll pull the sunroof, and then what we've done on the Salady we'll do on this as well, and we'll just get a nice big piece of sheet metal to go over the top and cover up all the rust once I cut it out and treat it. So plenty of spider webs in this one too. The interior is pretty feral, but that's okay. We'll give that a quick clean up, and it looks like most of it will come up well. So what we're going to do with this one, we're going to keep the carpet, we're going to keep all the dash, we're going to keep all the center console, we're going to put the door cards back on, and probably just try and keep it almost as street and as factory looking as possible, just for those extra little creature comforts. So as cool as it is to have a full race built car, it actually can get quite annoying. So this one we're going to just do it a bit differently. Seats will be coming out, rear seats will be staying in to create that blank into the rear cabin. I'll have to source a bottom part of the carpet, but pretty much all of this is going to be staying in, even up to the roof lining. Moving along, there is some form of a massive dent there. For the style of the build, probably not going to be necessary to run over fenders, but we will be running over fenders. So that's again not a big issue, because that's all going to be cut out and covered up. Relatively straight rear end. The whole car looks straight. Underneath, the chassis rails are also very straight. Another door, this one's going to come out. The window regulator doesn't work, so I'll be swapping it out with a door that does have a working window regulator. And over this side we got some more rust. So as you can see, yeah, she's a little rough, but in saying that, it is the perfect base to start a basic and budget drift build. So that's it. For all intensive purposes, we will call it this car owes me $1,000 in its current condition, pretty much as you saw, which I still personally feel is quite expensive, but that's just the way the market is going with these cars now. They are getting harder and harder to find, so once I saw this one come up, I sort of snapped it up pretty quickly. That's a wrap. We introduced what motor we're going to be using, what turbo setup we're going to be using, what the base is I'm starting on. So the overall game plan is to try and build a car as cheap and as quickly as possible, with doing as minimal as possible, and just go out there and hopefully just fucking absolutely shredding, just to sort of prove the point that you don't need to follow in my earlier footsteps of going and building a full retarded car, and that you can go out there with something that's pretty basic and shred and have fun, and you don't need to worry about putting a V8 in it or doing an engine conversion or putting Wisefab into it. Just keep things super simple and get maximum seat time, because I feel that's something I fucked up personally. I let the build sort of consume me a little bit, whereas I should have been focusing on dialing the car in, the car setup, and just getting maximum seat time rather than making a car that looks really fucking cool. So until then,